Hey YouTube, this is Primetime Pokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing and then giving away the Brilliant Thunder theme deck that came out with the Flashfire set. This is the second Flashfire theme deck that I've reviewed on YouTube. Last month I reviewed the Mystic Typhoon, and this month I'll be doing the Brilliant Thunder theme deck, which is a fire and lightning type theme deck that features Heliolisk. So before I open this up, I'll read the back of the package, sort of summarize the theme deck, then I'll review the cards inside of the deck, and then at the end of this video, I'll be laying out the rules to entry to win this theme deck. So it says, on the back, it says, the Brilliant Thunder theme deck. Lightning strikes and fires rage when you bring the Brilliant Thunder theme deck to battle. Harness the might of Pidgeot's strong gust to deliver booming blows to your foes. Bring your opponents to their knees as you buffet them with the thunderous strike force of Lopunny and Heliolisk. Fuel the ferocious flames with Fiery Torch, and as the sky begins to fall on your adversaries, deliver the final word with Snorlax's Sleepy Press. As the smoke clears, will you leave your opponents thunderstruck? And then on the right there is a summary of the cards inside the deck, and then whoever does win this theme deck will get what's listed on the left there. They'll get the 60 card deck, checklist, metallic coin, playmat and rules sheet, the code card, and the deck box, as well as the damage counter. So now I'll open it up, and I have opened this deck already just so that I could organize all the cards in the deck when going through them. But I'll show everything that you get inside. I just showed what you'd get inside by looking at the back of the box, but here are the actual items. Here is the checklist, the playmat. Here are the damage counters, burn marker and poison marker. Here's the 60 card deck. There's 59 cards in here right now. Here's a very cool Charizard coin, one of my favorite coins I've seen in quite a long time. Here's the online TCG code card that unlocks the entire deck. And then here is the featured card of this deck, Heliolisk. And as you can see, normally it's a non-holo rare card, but this card has that special holofoil background to it. So now I'll go through the cards and review the cards in the set, and then at the end I can compare the two decks from Flashfire. I really did like the Mystic Typhoon theme deck, so I'm guessing that deck will be better than this one, but I may be surprised. So, the Pokemon in this theme deck starts off with a 3-2 line of Helioptile and Heliolisk. Helioptile is 60 HP, Lightning type Pokemon, basic type. Pound does 10 damage, and then Destructive Beam it requires 2 energy cards. If you get a heads, it allows you to discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if I were using this card, I would prefer to use Pound. I may use Destructive Beam, but I'd probably prefer to do damage right away. So 3 of those, and then 2 Heliolisk. 90 HP, Stage 1, featured Pokemon in this theme deck. And this card has 2 moves. Parabolic Charge, which allows you to search your deck for up to 2 energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. And then Quick Attack requires 3 energy cards and does 60 damage plus 30 more damage if you get a heads when you flip a coin. Now this move can do an amazing 120 damage in one turn, but one thing you have to be wary about is that Heliolisk only has 90 HP, which isn't that much in today's TCG. Next up is a 2-2 line of Shinx and Luxio, no Luxray at all, but Shinx, basic lightning type Pokemon card, 60 HP, 2 moves, Paralyzing Gaze, and Static Shock. Static Shock's a pretty good move, does 30 damage for 2 energy cards, which is an above average move. And then Paralyzing Gaze paralyzes the defending Pokemon if you get a heads when you flip a coin. So a little slower card there, but definitely a good starter type. And then Luxio, 2 Luxio, 80 HP, so lower HP for stage 1. Bite does 20 damage, and then Electric Counter does 40 damage times the number of prize cards your opponent has taken. So this card will be better used late in games when your opponent's taken quite a few prize cards. Let's say, for example, they've taken 4 prize cards. Then this move will actually do 160 damage per turn. So there is a 2-2 line here. I'd probably use 1 Luxio in the active Pokemon spot and then set up 1 Luxio on the bench and move that into the active Pokemon spot later in the game. Okay, next Pokemon is a Fletchling-Fletchinder line, a 2-2 line, and Fletchling's a colorless type and Fletchinder's a fire type. And if you want more information on these specific cards, I'm reviewing all the Flashfire cards on my blog right now. But Fletchling, 50 HP, quick attack, does 10 damage for 1 colorless energy card and has the possibility to do 20 total damage if you get a heads when you flip a coin. So a good starter type there. Only bad thing is a little lower HP. Fletchinder, like I said, a fire type, only 1 move called Fire Breathing. Does 20 damage plus 20 more damage if you get a heads when you flip a coin. A little lower HP again, so I'm not a big fan of this line. But Fletchinder is fast and can do above average damage. But it may end up doing only 20 damage if you don't get a heads when you flip a coin. Next up is Torkoal. There's 2 Torkoal in this deck. 100 HP, which is good for basic type Pokemon. Live Coal does 20 damage for 1 fire energy card, and then Flamethrower does 80 damage, which is above average for 3 energy cards. But if you get a tails when you flip a coin, you have to discard an energy to this Pokemon. So if you have to discard an energy card, you'll have to keep attaching energy cards here. So if you did use this card in your deck, I'd attach probably 4 or 5, and then you could use Flamethrower several turns in a row. Next up is a line of Ponyta Rapidash, another 2-2 line. 60 HP for Ponyta, can do Agility, which does 10 damage, and if you get a heads when you flip a coin, you can prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to Ponyta during your opponent's next turn. And then Rapidash, 90 HP, stage 1 Pokemon, 2 moves, Agility, same move that Ponyta has, just a little bit more damage, and does the same thing where if you get a heads, it prevents all effects of attack from your opponent on Rapidash in the next turn. And then the second move on Rapidash is called Overrun, requires 2 colorless energy cards and does 40 damage. And it does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Onto a colorless Pokemon line, there's a 4-2-1 line of Pidgey, Pidgeotto, and Pidgeot. Pidgey, 60 HP, which is a surprise. Usually Pidgey has low HP. Peck Off does 10 damage for 1 colorless energy card. And it says before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tool cards attached to your opponent's Pokemon. So that's a pretty good ability almost that Peck Off does. If your opponent's active Pokemon has Muscle Band on it, you can discard that. Work pretty well. 4 Pidgeys. And then 2 Pidgeottos. 80 HP, so lower HP on Pidgeotto, but 2 moves, Sand Attack, which requires 1 colorless energy card, and it says if the defending Pokemon tries to attack during your opponent's next turn, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, that attack does nothing. And then Ambush requires 2 colorless type energy cards and does 20 damage plus 20 more damage if you get a heads when you flip a coin. So it's quite similar to the move that is on Fletchinder called Fire Breathing. But I do like Sand Attack. It goes along with the ability of preventing your opponents from attacking. So Sand Attack and Agility on Ponyta and Rapidash all do about the same thing. And then Pidgeot is of course a rare card. Only 1 of these in this deck. You could always add more. 130 HP for a stage 2 card. Clutch is the first move that this card has. Requires 2 colorless energy cards and does 40 damage. And it makes your opponent's active Pokemon unable to retreat during their next turn. And then Strong Gust requires 3 colorless energy cards and does 60 damage. And it says during your next turn, this Pokemon's strong gust attack does 60 more damage. That's a very good move right there. Can actually do 180 damage in 2 turns. It's a strong move right there, so I definitely consider adding another Pidgeot to this deck if you're to buy this deck and modify it just a little bit. Next up is a line of Baniri and Lopunny, a 2-1 line. Baniri, colorless type, 1 move called Bounce, requires 2 colorless energy cards and does 10 damage. It says to switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So if you got this Pokemon into the active Pokemon spot early, you could use Bounce one time and then switch it with one of the Pokemon that you've set up, hopefully. Then Lopunny, 90 HP. It does have an ability and 1 move called Sit Down Bounce, which does 80 damage. However, if you get a Tails when you flip a coin, Lopunny cannot attack during your next turn. And then its ability is called Big Jump, which says once during your turn, you may return this Pokemon and all cards attached to it to your hand. So if Lopunny gets, let's say, 80 damage on it, you may want to just return everything to your hand. And then Snorlax is the last Pokemon in this deck. Another colorless type, so several colorless type Pokemon in this deck. 130 HP. It's another Pokemon with an ability on it. And its ability is called Stir and Snooze. And it says if this Pokemon is asleep, flip 2 coins instead of 1 between turns. If either of them is tails, this Pokemon is still asleep. And then Sleepy Press requires 4 colorless energy cards. It does 120 damage, and it heals 20 damage from this Pokemon, but then it puts Snorlax to sleep. So that's it for the Pokemon there. I'm not real impressed really by any of the Pokemon in this theme deck. I like Pidgeot the best. It can do quite a bit of damage, but I definitely prefer the Mystic Typhoon deck, Pokemon-wise, more than this Brilliant Thunder theme deck. So on to the trainers and supporter cards. Evo Soda. There is 1 Evo Soda in this deck, and it allows you to search for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it into your hand onto that Pokemon, which is a pretty good move. This trainer is pretty popular in the TCG right now. Fiery Torch. There are 2 of these, and it allows you to discard a fire energy card from your hand and then draw 2 cards. So if you have all of your Pokemon already set up, you just want more Pokemon on your bench, you might want to use this card. There are 2 Pokemon Center Lady supporter cards. It allows you to heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. This is a really good trainer card to use in your deck, especially since some of the cards in this deck have a little lower HPs. This trainer card will do quite a bit for it. And there are two Pokemon Fan Club trainer cards. It says to search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So it differs from Evo Soda because Evo Soda just allows you to evolve that Pokemon right away that you get from your deck. And this one makes you get only basic Pokemon. Next up, there's a Professor's Letter. And there are 2 of these. It allows you to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards and put them into your hand. And then there is 1 Blacksmith. In this deck, it says to attach 2 fire energy cards from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. This trainer card should be in all fire type decks out there. It's very useful. And then the last trainer card in this deck is Roller Skates, which says to draw 3 cards if you get a heads when you flip a coin. And then I skipped over Startling Megaphone. Actually, I read the back of the box wrong. This is in the right order. Just 1 of these. It says to discard all Pokemon tool cards attached to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So it's a pretty good trainer card right there. It goes along well with one of the Pokemon's move that I talked about earlier, where it makes you discard all of your opponent's tool cards that are attached to the active Pokemon. So that's it for the trainer cards. And now there are 9 each of lightning and fire type energy cards. So that's it for the review part of this video. And again, if you're debating between which deck to get, either Brilliant Thunder or Mystic Typhoon, I definitely recommend Mystic Typhoon. It's definitely the better deck overall, but I'd recommend for beginners to buy either of them and just play with it a little bit and then modify it as you go along to improve it and become better and better playing the TCG. So now on to the giveaway part of this video. To win this theme deck, all you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and comment saying that you'd like to enter or you'd like to win this giveaway. And then about a month from now, right at the end of the month, I'll post another video selecting the winner. And for complete rules to entry, please see the video description of this video for the complete rules to entry. So good luck to everyone who enters. If you have any questions on how to enter or any questions about this theme deck, please feel free to comment on this video. But thanks everyone for watching. Make sure before you go to check out all the links in the video description of this video, my blog, Facebook, and Twitter links, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.